don't know Megan. She is not a friend. She didn't put me up to this. So what, just from public observation of information that's available, almost like doing a public astrology, I wanted to sort of take you through her chakras and what I think are balanced and imbalanced. Hey, namaste. It is Yogini Viv. I am so glad you're here. So, for those of you new to my channel, just real briefly, this is not a typical video. I really just wanted to share some thoughts about the Meghan and Harry situation and them wanting to and apparently succeeding in leaving the royal family. Just a brief overview of my take on it before I dive into the chakra analysis. You know, I do believe that, you know, as a woman and as a woman of color, I was very fascinated to see how she would literally integrate into the royal family. At the wedding, you know, if you're watching this, you probably watched or at least saw clips of the wedding and, you know, Prince Charles, you know, walking her down the aisle, I think. And then I think at one point he, you know, escorted her mom because her mom was there alone, of course, without Meghan Markle's dad. On the surface, you know, they looked very welcoming to her, surprisingly so. Though I know they're masters of public relations generally. Even a lot of outings with the Queen, it seemed like they were really taking her in relatively quickly, especially given how long Kate, who used to be called Waity Katie, yes, I'm that much of a royal geek to know that, you know, I think her dating life with William was like 7 years, right? So she had a lot of time. She was quite young and she had a lot of time to get used to the royal life. And she's also, it was less of a jump for her, I think, to even join the royal family. I thought things looked really good for Meghan. You know, I remember her in the carriage at the wedding. I thought she almost slightly overwhelmed when she was in the carriage and waving. There were certain points where you could see that she was like, oh my God. Okay, so let's jump to what's happening. Of course, they're still keeping the Sussex, and in my mind, they're still kind of trading on the royal family and that name and that prestige. So let me go through, though, Meghan's chakras. Again, so her root chakra, let's start at the base. I think on her is very likely weak. And I say that because, you know, she lived through a divorce. You know, her mom and her dad divorced, and that would cause root chakra trauma, right? It's an instability in the family. And then years later, she divorced her first husband. So a second divorce. So that leads me to believe that her root chakra is very likely not particularly strong and that it has been damaged by these traumas in the families. I believe that her root chakra would be fairly weak from these occurrences. And also, she herself hasn't established stability. Now, apparently, I think she was 7 years in Canada filming. And so that's a stable amount of time in one place and whatever in developing relationships. But my sense overall is that the root chakra is weak. Also, actually, the root chakra, which is a vital chakra, it's like the roots of a tree, right? So if there's rot in the root, or if the root can't get nourishment, the whole tree is not going to blossom, right? Even if it looks healthy now. This is why I'm staying a bit on the root chakra. Her sort of inability to deal with the spotlight of the royal family also leads me to believe the root chakra is not. Now I know that is a huge, that's literally like being one of the most famous people in the world, right? When you're thrust into that family. I'm old enough to remember Princess Diana and what she went through with the royal family. So it's extremely difficult. But what I could say is maybe now the root chakra energetically is damaged because basically she's separating from that family, that new family that she had, and you know, Harry is separating with her. But there's a sense that the root chakra has to do with calm and stability. And so if one truly had a strong root chakra, which, as I said, I think it was damaged previous to her joining the royal family, but if it gives you calm and it gives you stability. So, for example, if we were talking about the Queen, I would say the Queen has an extremely strong root chakra. So her inability to sort of deal with definitely some of the racist press and just the negative press in general, and some of the press stuff was also true. She got in trouble for like flying by private jet repeatedly while urging people to watch their carbon footprint and, you know, and be careful about the planet. Yet here she was, there was some hypocrisy there. And so I think especially now her root chakra is definitely shaken if it wasn't already weak before. Let's go on to the second chakra. So the second chakra, I'm going to say I was really surprised. I saw a clip of the interview that she did after the Africa trip, the one where she said, you know, no one has asked me how I'm doing. Not many have asked me how I'm doing. And she was visibly emotional, so much so that I was surprised, but I also feel, I know I'm very intuitive, and I didn't feel like she was acting there. So that leads me to believe that her second chakra is also a little bit weak, because there's a sense of an emotional fragility, interpersonal, and as a woman, the second chakra has to do with sensuality, sexuality, relating, but very much, it's different than the heart chakra. It's more about pleasure, joy. I just get a sense that she doesn't have a particularly strong second chakra as well, because it does also have to do with relationships and intimacy, and you know, the breakup of the first marriage and the way it was described that it happened, and again that fracture of her mother and her father and the divorce, though it didn't seem like it was a horrible divorce, but still on a young girl that would have an effect. So I feel like the second chakra is also a bit weak on her. The third chakra is the one that I think is very strong on Meghan Markle. And I say that because the third chakra has to do with willpower and autonomy, assertiveness. A lot of businessmen have a very strong third chakra. The element it governs is fire. And so energetically, as well as like actually, fire is like passion. Fire is that drive. It is that wanting to power through. And I feel like she has a strong third chakra, which allowed her to have some success in the acting world, right? And to pursue her own course. So she does seem like she has a strong will. And her actions in terms of Harry, again, what we publicly know, you know, she's moving back to Canada where she has friends, where she lived. It leads me to believe that things are going, at least what she desires, in her favor in that way. So I do think she has a very strong third chakra, and that will is there. That assertiveness is there. Also, and this may seem controversial to some folks, but there's no judgment in it, she is slim. You know, of course, when she gained weight for her pregnancy, and I thought she looked great actually with some more weight on her, but she's generally very slim. And the third chakra has to do with digestion and digestive power. And when you have strong digestive power, you will tend to be slimmer. So putting that together, I feel like her digestion is strong, which goes to that strong will and that strong ambition. That is linked in Ayurveda. Those things are linked together, even though maybe in the West they don't make sense. But strong digestion, her physique, which is very slim, very trim, and her assertiveness all let me believe she has a strong third chakra. Now the fourth chakra, the heart, it's interesting. Of course, that has to do with love and relationships, but it's less about sort of sexual love and attachment, and more about compassion and just love for all. Okay, because it is a higher chakra. And so what I get with Meghan Markle with the heart chakra is, on a personal level, there may be, you know, issues playing out, again, because of past relationships and so on, and that father wound that I do think, you know, she might have. But what I see is she seems to have a global heart. You know, she's very concerned with like women and the environment. So it's like there's a split. She definitely seems to care for the heart energy in terms of helping people who are distant from her, you know, other people, women, third world countries, and so on. That seems strong. But interestingly, what I find interesting is in terms of relationship with her dad, that's clearly like fraught and fractured, right? So on some level, it seems like the personal relationships may be difficult, but her heart chakra seems to be open in terms of caring for others. So I find that sort of fascinating. So I'd say she is definitely tapping into some heart energy. I think it may also come from a sense of ambition, though, that it's an ambition to be seen as a humanitarian, which is, I think, probably a motivation for a lot of people, is that there's still ego, of course, in wanting to help others, because it makes us look good. So I think that may be there. The fifth chakra, which has to do, it governs sound, but also creativity and creative expression. Okay, and communication, I think, is very strong on her. She is a very good speaker. She likes to give speeches. She likes to speak. Her job as an actress was about communication. So I feel like her throat chakra is very open and very active. and very strong. The sixth chakra, the third eye chakra, is we're getting really into subtle realms. We're getting into intuition, visualization, color, of course, visual, seeing. I feel that that might be very strong as well, not necessarily in a spiritual sense, but the fact that she was able to meet and marry a prince, my sense is that she's able, this goes back to the third chakra, to go after her goals and to visualize clearly what she wants. I think there's a real clarity for her, for Megan, of what she wants her life to be like. And she's able to actualize it. And I think that is her strong Ajna or Agnya chakra, the third eye chakra. So it's that ability to have a clear vision. And so in some cases, I think her vision may be clearer than those around her. And that's why she's able to basically manifest what she wants. The final chakra, the crown chakra, that is where we're connected to spirit and where we do get sort of cosmic ideas and sort of cosmic understanding. That it would be very hard to say if she is connected to that. I think time will tell. It'll be very interesting to see if she is able to do good work and help the environment and clean water and women's rights and just, and hunger and things like that. And we'll see that understanding of her crown chakra, of Sahasrara chakra over time. I don't think that's something we can necessarily see now. So I hope this was helpful. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. I do think that it's important. I think there are folks that say, well, this is their private lives, and of course they have a choice of how they want to live it, and they do. But I think the symbol of her being, taken into the monarchy, it affected not just her. I do think that the British people, not necessarily the press, but a lot of the British people did open their arms to her. My sense, to wrap up, is I honestly feel that she and Harry moved a little too fast on this. I want to say, how long were they married? Was it like 18 months? A little under 2 years, I believe. And see, I have no notes on this. I'm just going off what I remember. But it seems to me making such a huge change that they would have given it a little more time for them to find their right roles within the royal family. So I personally think it's a mistake. I think that they would have actually had more power in a certain way within the royal family, but we'll see how that plays out. Let me know if you're interested in this chakra analysis. I would actually love to talk about Oprah and her chakras and her energy and how she's putting that out into the world. So let me know if you're interested. Give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment and share. Thank you so much. Mwah. Stay blessed. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.